I'd like to welcome everyone here tonight to the March 12th, 2020, 7 p.m. regular meeting of the Kern County Planning Commission. I'm going to officially call this meeting to order. Looks like we have a nice crowd, so everybody welcome. I would like to start off with roll call. Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Ashley?
Here.
Commissioner Judge?
Here.
Commissioner McGiffney? Commissioner Skidmore? Here. Commissioner Sprague?
Here.
Mr. Hall?
Here.
Ms. Monsiváis?
Okay, moving on to Commissioner. Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Here. Mr. Murphy?
Here. We're good? Okay. Just want to make it a little difficult the first day back. Okay.
She can still ring you in, so just put it back.
Okay, next item, Commission member announcements or reports. On their own initiative, Commissioners members may make an announcement or report on their own activities. Any Commission members want to speak on anything tonight?
I just want to welcome Carrie back.
Yes,
Good to
same
see you.
here. Moving on to approval of minutes for February 27th. Any Commissioners have any comments on our previous minutes?
Mr. Chairman, if there's no comments, I make a motion to approve.
May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. A unique one today, no cases withdrawn and no consent items, so we're going to move right on into public presentations. So this portion of our meeting is reserved for persons desiring to address the commission on any matter that is not on today's agenda and over which this commission has jurisdiction. Speakers are limited to 2 minutes, and if you have anything to speak, please come out and say your name prior to speaking on any item. So before we get moving on, is there any public presentations today? Seeing none, I will close that portion of the agenda tonight, and I'm moving on to our hearings. So we're going to go on to cases. Number 1, I will turn to Mr. Murphy to start this item.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the commission. That presentation will actually be made by Ms. Monsiváis today.
Ms. Monsiváis, can I turn it over to you then? Thank you very much.
Good evening. The first project before you tonight includes several requests which are located at 8117 Montel Street in Lamont. The project site is 0.3 acres and is on 2 continuous parcels. The first item is an amend the land use, open space, and conservation element of the Metro Bakersfield General Plan from low-medium density residential to general commercial to create consistency with the proposed zoning for the project site. The second item is a change in zone classification from low-density residential to general commercial precise development combining district in order to facilitate a multi-purpose commercial development. The third item is a precise development plan to construct a 2-story building. Specifically, the first floor would be a 3,910 square foot restaurant with a drive-through, and the second floor would contain 4 studio apartments. The restaurant will operate from 5 a.m. to 10 p.m., 7 days a week, with 8 to 10 full-time employees. The 4 studio apartments will contain 1 bedroom, 1 bath, and a kitchen with private locked entrance gate. Water and sewer will be provided by Lamont Public Utility District. And the last item is a zone variance to allow a reduction in parking. The applicant owns the existing commercial development to the west of the proposed development and proposes to share the parking area through a shared parking agreement. You have received an addendum for tonight's hearing addressing the proposed exit along Montel Street. Through initial correspondence with the adjacent residents, a determination had been made to retain the proposed exit driveway. However, subsequent to the distribution of the staff report, staff received correspondence from Modesto Rivera Jr. and Ricardo Rivera, who are on the property owners of 8120 and 8220 Montel Street and are opposed to the proposed exit driveway due to the possibility of headlight glare negatively impacting the residents. Through discussions with the applicant and property owners, staff is recommending the proposed exit driveway be removed and landscaping and additional parking be designed in place. This would result in all ingress and egress for the proposal be taken from the existing commercial development to the west. Staff has consulted with the Kern County Public Works Department and they concur. Therefore, staff has replaced condition 4K with the applicant shall submit a revised site plan indicating the drive approach on the east side of the project site be removed and replaced with additional landscaping and parking spaces. Based upon the information in the record today, approval of the request will continue to allow reasonable development of the property while ensuring compatibility with the standards and requirements of the C2 zone classification and the Metropolitan Bakersfield General Plan. Therefore, staff recommends your commission recommend to the Board of Supervisors approve general plan amendment as requested, approve the zone change as requested, approve precise development plan subject to the revised recommended conditions of approval, approve zone variance subject to the recommended conditions of approval, and adopt the suggested findings as set forth in the attached revised draft resolutions.
Thank you. And is the applicant in the audience today? If you like, you're welcome to come say any comments on your project, for or against is open. So any public comments on this project? If you want, please come up, state your name, and spell your last name for us.
I'm Lupi Baca, and I've read the reports, and I concur with it. I'm fine with it if that's, like, I'm fine with it. If I can get approved with it. I've been in business for 40 years, so been there a long time in that corner.
Okay,
That's it.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else to speak on this project? Seeing none, I'll close the public presentation on this project and turn to commissioners. Any comments or questions regarding this project?
Mr. Chairman, I've reviewed the project and gone over it in detail. And I think with the revision spoke about by staff on the ingress and egress on this project, that I'm satisfied with it now. So from that standpoint, if there are no other commissioner comments, I'd be ready to make a motion.
Thank you. Commissioner Sprague, prior to making a motion, I do have one question for staff. I understand the removal of the ingress egress of the straight drive-through, which will now turn traffic to come in through and exit out of the main access, which is closer to Main Street, is my understanding, correct? And just looking at traffic flow and patterns, I just have a question. Looking at the drive-through stack, looking at how the development runs, if they get one or two cars out there, that might block the directional flow between cars exiting the drive-through and cars stacking the drive-through. Just if the restaurant is busy, it could cause a little bit of an issue there. Again, I don't feel this is a concern overall, but I would have a recommendation to see if there would be a way to maybe pull that curb line in a little bit. Maybe if there's, I'm not sure if the parking requirements are maxed out or not. If they're not, maybe we could lose the parking stall just on the easterly side of that curb, and maybe have a little bit of a radius turning into the drive-through, so it has vehicles following the drive-through instead of coming straight out and blocking traffic flow. Just a thought I have, and if someone could comment on that from staff and give me feedback on that.
Commissioner Sprague, Commissioner Judge, Chairman Judge, all members of the commission.
We look a little different, but thank
Roll
you.
call.
Sorry, maps, everything's going on right now. So the Montel Street is actually a dead end. So that was one of the additional reasons, given the fact that we have the access here, and then there still would be an access for Montel up here, why they were comfortable with that not being included, just because they felt the flow of traffic would not be impacted because Montel does come to a dead end. With that being said, the applicant always has an opportunity to propose a revision to the PD plan if they can figure something out, and then we can look at it based on the substantial changes, whether it's something that can be approved over the counter or whether or not they could come back to your commission to have that officially modified, if they believe that they could kind of work that in. I know initially they didn't necessarily think so, just because of where the restaurant was being proposed. However, that is always an option that they would have as they go forward, as they kind of finalize and start the construction process or begin to move forward.
Thank you, Mr. And I apologize, maybe I understand that, and I'm not asking them to add that driveway back in. I was just asking your thought on, if you can make ideas, is when people are coming into the actual drive-through,
In the parking lot.
into the parking lot. You see how that drive-through, if another car gets behind that vehicle, they're gonna be sticking out, their tail end is gonna be sticking out, and you're gonna have, and then when someone's exiting the drive-through to get out, you know, you might get some congestion there. And my only question is if there could be that stall just east of that curb line, if that was deleted and maybe that drive-through had a little bit of radius turning into it so that cars are following a natural progression of travel instead of sticking out into the pattern. That's all I was asking.
Okay.
I don't know if that's a concern or not, or if something that you guys could address easily.
So, Chairman, Judge, through the chair, I don't necessarily think it was an initial concern. However, the applicant will have to submit a revised site plan showing that approach is now landscaped, and so they can look at that as they go through, and any parking could be adjusted from that aspect. And again, as long as it still has all the parking standards, then it would not require needing to come back. But that can be looked at and addressed through the revised site plan that they have to submit as part of the approval.
That's all I want to understand. Thank you for the clarification. With
Okay.
that, Mr. Sprague?
Any other comments?
No other comments?
With that, I would make a motion to approve item number 1 as read into the record by staff and also enter the chairman's comments.
May I have a second?
I can second.
Four ayes, one absent, motion carries.
Mr. Question I have is do we go through rights of appeal after all items are addressed, or should we do it per item?
Chairman, Judge, through the chair, this item actually is a recommendation, as it has a general plan amendment, so it's required to go to the Board of Supervisors for final approval as it is. The only item this evening where I'll have to do that is for item number two.
Okay, thank you. Okay, moving on to item number 2. If I could turn to staff to please give us information on this project.
The project before you tonight was originally heard on December 12th, 2019, where a motion was made to approve the lighting proposal as part of the project, which was not consequently approved by your commission. Following the hearing, staff was unclear as to your commission's decision regarding the overall project. Therefore, staff is bringing the proposal to be reconsidered by your commission at tonight's hearing. The proposed project is a request for a conditional use permit to allow a community center located at 3212 Jewetta Avenue on the southeast corner of Jewetta Avenue and Meacham Road in Bakersfield. The project is proposed to be constructed in 3 phases. Phase 1, the installation of a 9,000 square foot stick-built or modular classroom, a playground, a sports field, 2 basketball courts with associated lighting, and the required parking and landscaping. A single access to the site during Phase 1 will be from Jewetta Avenue with a separate private entrance to the existing residence. Phase 2 is the new construction of a 20,000 square foot gymnasium and additional stick-built or modular classrooms not to exceed 9,000 square feet with the completion of associated parking and landscaping. Upon completion of Phase 2, 4 additional access approaches are proposed to be added, 2 from Jewetta and 2 from Meacham Road. Phase 3 is additional construction of a 13,000 square foot reception hall with the possible finalization of Phase 2's classrooms. Classrooms shall not exceed a total of 18,000 square feet for all phases. The applicant is also requesting the retention of an existing single-family residence on site in order to renovate as a groundskeeper caretaker's quarter. The groundskeeper/caretaker's quarter will be on site to monitor and secure the project site when the community center is not being utilized. Several concerns were discussed by your commission and the public at the December 12th, 2019 hearing. Concerns such as pedestrian safety, increased traffic, rental uses involved with alcohol, possible neighboring property disturbance, light pollution, noise pollution, water supply, landscape buffers. As stated earlier, a motion was made for approval of the project to include the use of timed stadium lighting, and McGiffney second. Then by a vote of 2 ayes and 3 noes, did not approve the motion. The hearing was then closed and adjourned. Following the hearing, the planning department determined that further clarification is required in regards to the proceedings and therefore contacted the applicant to explain the reconsideration of the project that would be taking place. Because of this, the applicant has taken measures to address concerns from neighboring residents and your commission. A trip generation study was performed and reviewed by the Kern County Public Works Department. In response to this study that illustrated the only need for a traffic study would be for Phase 2. Therefore, staff has included a condition of approval requiring a traffic study be required prior to Phase 2 to address any needed impacts on the roads. The applicant consulted with engineers to determine irrigation water supply provided by the existing water well for possible irrigation purposes. The firm concluded the estimated water demand for irrigation will not negatively impact the groundwater table. Through consultation with Vaughn Water Company, it was determined that the domestic water supply beyond Phase 1 would require additional consideration and permitting through Water Company prior to moving forward. Therefore, staff has included a condition in with the applicant's with the recommended conditions of approval to consult with Vaughn Water Company at the beginning stages at each phase to ensure compliance with water regulations prior to moving forward. The applicant's proposal does include the potential to rent out the facility to the general public for future events. Because of this, the applicant has confirmed that no alcohol sales are proposed for the project or future events. Therefore, a condition of approval prohibits the sale or use of alcohol on the premise for any event taking place. The applicant is also proposing the inclusion of additional trees along the south and east boundaries of the project site adjacent to the residential development to provide additional privacy and visual appeal to the neighboring properties. The trees will be planted during Phase 1 along the east and south areas of the project site to allow time for maturity in order to provide sufficient screening between the establishment, residential areas, and the future development of Phases 2 and 3. Additionally, the applicant submitted a letter formally removing all requests for stadium lighting around the sport field. Therefore, staff recommends the outdoor lighting be limited to the basketball courts and would be non-operable starting at 10 p.m. daily. In addition, staff has included a condition stating all lights on the project site shall comply with the dark skies ordinance of the Kern County zoning ordinance. Staff continues to recommend the permanent sports or arena type lighting not be permitted around the sports field, thereby limiting evening activities to the basketball courts to reduce the amount of outside evening noise and lighting on site. Additionally, Type A subdivision road improvements in accordance with the county standards for both Jowetta Avenue and Meacham Road will be constructed, which will increase pedestrian safety in the area. The applicant has also taken steps to move the on-site debris and loose structures to clean up the site, making the area safer for the public. The project continues to be supported by the Metropolitan Bakersfield General Plan goals and policies, where residential uses are located in close proximity to educational services such as schools and after-school service programs, as well as recreational uses such as sports fields and gathering areas to serve the local community's activity needs. Staff would like to state that we received 29 comment letters that have been received from neighboring residents stating support of the project, and no additional letters of opposition have been received following the requiring notification period. With the applicant's revisions to the proposal and the recommended conditions of approval during the establishment of each construction phase, staff concludes the request significantly demonstrates compliance with the necessary findings and therefore recommends your commission approve the conditional use permit subject to the recommended conditions of approval and adopt the suggested findings as set forth in the attached draft resolution. We did receive a petition tonight from a member in the audience in support for a 8-foot concrete block wall instead of a 6. It is your commission's purview to alter conditions if you choose to. This concludes staff's presentation. However, I open the floor to Mr. Murphy for any additional comments at this time.
Thank you, Ms. Monsiváis. The only additional things I wanted to add, we did have one for sure recommended revised change to one condition. That is condition 5D. It requires, under an encroachment permit, that the applicant construct some type A improvement areas. The requirement we still believe is necessary. We would just like to add the language at the end of that condition, all subject to acquisition of the required dedication. So we just need that clarification in there as that property is located adjacent to and off-site from the project site. And then regarding condition 7G, if it is your commission's desire to require an 8-foot block wall, staff is comfortable with that recommendation, and I have the language for you if you would like me to alter that condition as well. We believe that we have addressed all the concerns that were brought up by the neighbors and by your commission when the project was originally considered. We believe this is a good project, and we believe that as modified, it will be a good facility that will serve the community. We're available for any questions, should your commission have any.
Thank you very much for that detailed presentation. And I want to commend staff as well for taking all the considerations from the previous meeting and making sure those were addressed by the public concerns and putting them into these conditions and helping streamline some of these items that were addressed. Prior to moving forward, if there's anyone that'd like to speak on this project, either for or against, please feel free to come up and state your name along with spell out your last name for us.
Good evening, Commissioners. Tonight, I'm going to share with you why Sunrise Community Center is so important to our youth.
Thank you very much. Please state your name and spell your last name for the record.
I was going to get to that, but I'm going to tell you, my name is Sam Abed. Tonight I was going to share with you guys why Sunrise Community Center is so important to our youth, our families, and our local community. But first, I'd like to introduce myself. I am the applicant of Sunrise Community Center. My name is Sam Abed. I am a native of Bakersfield, born and raised. I've been doing real estate developments in Kern County since 2001. And over those years, I've done dozens of developments. One of the most recent developments that you guys might be familiar with is the discovery and restoration of the historic bank on the corner of Chester and 18th. We were able to save the structure from being demolished, restore it to its original design, which now houses the 1800. And now I'd like to continue my good work. We are proposing a private community center that's geared towards homeschooled children. The facility will be utilized by the members of the community and the others in the community as well. The idea behind Sunrise started 3 years ago when I decided to homeschool my daughter in 7th grade. As you know, there's some pros and cons of homeschooling. One of the cons of homeschooling is the lack of socializing, interaction with other students. So I noticed my daughter was staring at a laptop 6 days a week. And I got the idea, why isn't there a facility where homeschooled children can go to a facility with other children and play a game, interact, have free tutors that are there for them 5 days a week, and offer different activities such as music, pottery, outdoor activities, field trips, and so much more. So I decided to start a nonprofit called Sunrise Community Center. And when I was looking for a potential site to house Sunrise, I knew I had some characteristics that I was looking for. One, I knew I needed 10 acres. And another feature I knew I wanted them located within a neighborhood because I wanted it to be easy for families and children to have access to this facility. And this also allows families who do not live in the area the ability to move nearby and to be closer to Sunrise Community Center. We also wanted a gymnasium and a reception hall. Something else I wanted to do is make this free to families to use. So we wanted to actually rent out our gymnasium and reception hall and some of our classrooms and soccer field so it generates incomes for the nonprofit that actually pays for the tutors and teachers that we're going to supply for our students. We would also like to make our community center available for children, for after-school programs for children where parents get off late from work, that we have a place to go, whether it's Rosedale North, located directly across from us. They can come to a Sunrise Community Center, and we can take care of them until parents get off, and they can pick them up as well. As you can tell, this facility is going to serve everyone in our community, so I really hope you guys consider the approval of Sunrise Community Center. By a show of support from the audience, for those of you who would like to see Sunrise approved, can you please show your support by standing? Thank you. You may be seated. Not only do I hope you approve this project, I hope you support it as well. And hopefully Sunrise will be an example and inspire other communities to create the same. So we may serve our children, help protect our family values, and guide us to continually search for what's best for our children. My planning consultant, Ted James, is here, and he would like to make a brief presentation of our project. Thank you.
Thank you. Think you need no introduction, but feel free.
Thank you. My name's Ted James, and I'm a planning consultant. And it's a pleasure to be before your commission tonight. I appreciate that. Because of the excellent presentation, very concise presentation that was presented today, I'm going to limit my comments. But I do want to touch a little bit on the Metropolitan Bakersfield General Plan policies. And as was indicated, there are policies encouraging both public and private facilities that help the community, addressing cultural issues, schools, recreational needs. The applicant's project certainly meets that need. One of the things I just wanted to focus on, the general plan talks about infill development. This is classic infill development, sometimes referred to as bypass parcels. This parcel doesn't have curb, gutter, and sidewalk. It's proximate to Rosedale North School. Having the completion of that sidewalk infrastructure, I think, would be very important for the neighborhood, for the kids, and to provide for safety. So that's certainly an important thing that I think is needed for this project. The other thing I want to just touch on is, as was indicated, the applicant, Mr. Abed, did go through and make revisions to his project. He's providing a 10-foot landscaping strip, so both the block wall and he's hired a landscape architect to design the landscaping so it provides screening trees and other vegetation that'll help. This will help minimize the noise, help minimize the visual issues with neighboring property owners. Because he did remove the night lighting of the soccer field, the issue of night noise has been taken away as well. So I think a lot of changes have been made to this project that really make it an effective project. The other thing, just want to stress briefly, from the standpoint of traffic requirements, he'll have to put full Type A traffic standards in. That's going to help make improvements to the intersection. As I said, put the sidewalk in. It'll help in turning movements at that intersection as well. The other thing, he's required to pay Metropolitan Bakersfield transportation impact fees. And that helps deal with the area-wide needs for the traffic generated from this facility. So with that, I'm here to say I think this is a very good project. The applicant has been responsive in adding additional conditions to make this compatible with the neighboring properties. And with that, I would recommend you support the project. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else like to speak on behalf of this project? Please come up, state your name, and spell your last name for the record.
Hartman James. I live on the bordering property of this proposed site. Basically, my fence line is the backyard of this site, which is on Paddock, right there in the middle, 11206 Paddock. And there's already a Rosedale Recreation Park directly across the street, caddy corner from my house. And in the summertime, and when they play their games and stuff, when I'm in my backyard, I can hear them like if they're in my backyard. And with this facility going in, it's going to be like they're in my living room. And I just think the hours are too long, from 5 o'clock in the morning to 10 p.m. at night. And just the traffic is going to create traffic in our neighborhoods, and it's just going to, and it's good for the kids, don't get me wrong, but there's multiple places right in the same vicinity, especially right on the corner of Hageman and Jewetta. There's another 10-acre parcel there that would be more suitable for this project. There's a 23-acre parcel on Verdugo and Rosedale, just off Rosedale, to be suitable for this site that won't be interrupting our peace and our quiet and our security in our already established neighborhood. Just plugging something, recreation site of this magnitude right dead in the middle of an established residence in this neighborhood is just gonna bring total chaos, and unfortunately, it'll probably bring crime too, because everybody else from the adjoining areas or whoever gonna come in there, and there's no telling what's gonna happen to our residents. There's no buffering between this and our properties, none whatsoever. That means, and there's no privacy, there's no security, and I just feel that it's an improper site for this. We petitioned, and I turned in a petition tonight, if the board decides to go ahead and do this project, at least give us an 8-foot wall between our properties and this site. Due to the traffic, the parking's gonna be right up against my backyard. I mean, everybody's got animals along this property. They're gonna be barking all the time that if people over there, it just doesn't seem right that it should have to take place at this site. Thank you for listening to my concerns.
Thank you very much.
Hi, my name is Tracy Halverson. That's Halvorson. I'm a resident. I've lived in the area for 20 years. I have some of the same concerns. I already had to get rid of a horse when I moved in there because things have changed so much in the area. It was originally a rural neighborhood when we moved in there and very peaceful and very quiet. The only interruptions we've had have been with the school and the park, but those were there when I moved in and we anticipated those. This is gonna drive, I don't recognize any of these people as my neighbors. It's gonna drive all these additional people, plus the other people they rent out to daily to the, right in front of my house, right in front of my home. You're not asking for a traffic study until after they've already invested money and fixed the first part of it. To me, that makes no sense. That's putting the cart before the horse. You're gonna have all these changes to my street and put additional lanes in and have 2 more points of egress for 500 cars in my neighborhood. They're gonna go right past my house every day. You're gonna significantly impact my standard of living and my neighbors as well.
Thank you.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Layla Abed, and I'm the daughter of Sam Abed. I'm currently in 9th grade. I'm 15 years old, and I've been homeschooled since 7th grade. My family decided to homeschool me to preserve our family values. Being homeschooled was amazing, but I had no extra activities to participate in. There were no sports or music I can do. My homeschooling program did have a community day where we got to socialize with other kids. It was fun being able to interact with others my age, but there wasn't enough teachers to keep it running, so the program ended up canceling it for good. This was very disappointing for all the kids there, but it made me and my family realize that there really is nothing kids can do to socialize or have a place to do activities with other kids the same age. So for that, I'm extremely grateful to my dad, who realized this problem and strived to do whatever it takes to fix it. I hope you consider the approval of Sunrise Community Center. It will give kids a chance to socialize, make friends, and participate in so much activities with others. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Myra, and I live in Shafter. I first heard about Sunrise Community Center through Sam Abed, and I've been thinking about it. Homeschooling my son after 5th grade, but there's no facilities in Shafter or in Bakersfield. The northwest location is perfect because it's not that far from Shafter. I can drop off my son before work. This community center would be great for everyone. I look forward to all the activities that will gather children and families together. I hope you approve Sunrise Community Center, and hopefully one day someone builds something similar in Shafter. Thank you.
Excuse me, ma'am, would you mind come back and pronounce your last name again for us?
It's
Thank you.
Cardenas,
And how do you spell that?
Cardenas.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Abdul Alice. I'm a local dentist here in Bakersfield, and I've been serving Bakersfield for more than 20 years. I have 3 children, and they're all of young ages. And I'm really excited about this project. I feel like this is going to provide a safe and positive environment for the kids, to learn and interact and have good social activities.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Abdul. It's Abdul. I've lived in Bakersfield for over 15 years. I work for Era Energy, and I'm married with 3 young boys, 11, 9, and 7. And as my oldest son is now progressing from 6th going to potentially 7th grade, we're seriously considering homeschooling our son. And so with that, we start to reflect on some of the challenges that have been shared when you're homeschooling and not having that interaction. And a center like Sunrise would really provide something that would really help not just myself and my family, but I think our community as a whole. So I would like to urge the Commission to please approve this project. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name's Abdel Dalia. I've been in Bakersfield for 15 years. I graduated from CSUB, finished med school, and I'm a ED resident at Kern Medical. As far as throughout my years, going from CSUB to medical school, one thing I've noticed is not everybody learns at the same pace or same rate or with the same modalities that are usually standardized for masses of students. And now that my niece and nephews have moved in with me over the past 3 years, I've noticed the same with them, that sometimes they do learn at different paces and they learn at different modalities, sometimes more effective at home. And so my sister has taken upon herself to homeschool my niece and nephews, and I do notice that their performance has drastically increased over the past few years. But like some of the people have addressed, some of the hindrances of homeschooling are the lack of those social interactions, interacting with your peers, activities that are best fostered within a learning environment. So I do support Sunrise Community Center for that way, where we can tailor our own type of curriculum at the level of kids, but at the same time not take away from those social interactions that they could get within a school environment. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, or good evening, actually. I've been busy all day, so it's been a long day. My name's Joe Martin. I was born and raised here in Bakersfield, California. I'm a principal owner of an insurance brokerage here in town. I've handled all of their insurance for the last 12 years, small and large projects. They have numerous projects going on all over town. I can say that Sam really cares about our community by all the different projects he's been involved in. This includes the historical bank on Chester that is now a popular restaurant. It's also brought quite a few jobs to our area. When he mentioned his idea for the school and community center, I knew it was a great idea and an amazing project for all. I live just a few minutes down the road. I live on Callaway and Meacham, right by the area. So I thought this would be a great site for my kids to go visit anytime they want. They're involved in softball with BSA right by Rosedale Elementary. They're involved in the Cub Scouts, and these guys that are starting this project have always been involved with helping support my children in whatever they're doing, whether it be church camp, Cub Scouts. They're just always involved and wanting to stay involved, especially with the community. I'm here to show my support in this project. I know in my area, I'm tired of seeing apartments and shopping centers going up all over the place. And out in Rosedale, they're everywhere. popping up all over. We need more facilities just like this one in our community. I really hope you guys approve this community center, and it would be a great center for all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, Commissioners. My name is Odalis Camacho, spelled Odalys Camacho. And I came tonight to show my full support for this. Not only is this something good for the children, but these children will eventually become adults, right? So as technology is expanding, Bakersfield is also expanding. It is not the same place it was 20 years ago. So with the turn of events, a lot of people are considering staying home with their children because you want that perfect balance of being able to watch your family grow, but still, still be able to give them their needs, paying the bills, food, all that stuff. But there is a level of, you need social skills. Everybody needs social skills. And I think that if you are able to work with your children at their level and nurture them and teach them, but still offer them that ability to go out into the world and talk to new people, learn new things, and just get outside of their bubble, I think that that would be the best thing that we can do to give to our community, because eventually those kids will be adults that will be just like you and I and everyone in this room, with their own mindset and their own thoughts, and the best thing that we can do is give to our community. Because the fruit that we plant today, or the seed that we plant today, will show later. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments from the public today?
Hello, my name is Vanisha Harris, Harris. I think this idea would be great for the community because a lot of kids really need to socialize, because if you think about it, when we're in school, we make some of our very best friends during recess. So I think having activities where people could come together and not only focus on work and chores at home, they could have a break, come to this community, play, make friends, because no one wants to stay home all day. And imagine staying home all day as a kid, though. Like, just sitting there and you don't know. We learn a lot of things with our friends. We get into a lot of stuff. We make a lot of memories with our friends. So I think this community would be great. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments from the public? Seeing none, I will now close the public portion of the comment. I will then turn over to our commissioners, and I will turn to Commissioner Sprague to have a few comments.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Well, as you know, when this project first came to us, I reviewed the project, read all the paperwork, and I had some problems with it, and I was adverse to it without changes. I've reviewed the project. I've talked to staff about the project. I've suggested changes that needed to be made. And I'm happy to say that the applicant has come forward and agreed to make those changes that I had concerns with, which now appear to make this a nice project. One is taking the 70-foot light poles off the soccer fields so they don't infringe on the residences around the area, putting in additional landscape strips, doing a preliminary traffic study. And I believe, after looking at the site, and I went by there again today, that if we were to recommend an 8-foot fence block wall instead of a 6-foot, that it would shelter the noise that the neighbors have concerns with there. I don't know that we can keep it below the 65 decimal unit ordinance that the county has or that the city has. But I feel confident that if we put an 8-foot wall in, it's going to shelter that and buffer that noise along with the automobile noise that's there and the landscape that he's put in. I think he's done an excellent job of hiring the right people to do the proper planning to make this project shine in that particular area and make it work. I have a question for staff or traffic in that if we were to recommend an 8-foot fence and it was agreeable, what about the 4-foot fence that's on the Beecham side that blocks the headlights into the houses across the street? Is there a possibility that we could take that up at least a foot since it's going to be an ornamental fence with greenery? And it would blend better with an 8-foot fence than it would with a 6-foot fence. So I just need to have some opinion on that.
Commissioner Sprague through the chair. Sorry, if you're asking staff now, I'm sorry. So as the condition is written currently, you're right, there would be a 4-foot and then the landscaping along Jowetta and Meacham. I would turn to Josh with the Public Works Department to provide any feedback as to whether or not he thought a 5-foot ornamental fence would be appropriate along Jowetta and Meacham at those locations, given any roadway.
Joshua Champlin, Champlin. I believe that those standards are in place because of the standard height of a vehicle facing that direction. I don't know if an extra foot adds a lot to deter the headlights. The majority of vehicles are not necessarily that high off the ground that they would, the headlights would shine over that type of a fence.
Well, I actually measured today the differential, and I can see what the difference would be, especially to the residences across to the north side of Meacham. And I think that it would enhance the compatibility of an 8-foot fence with a 5-foot wrought iron evergreen fence there to shield. And it's also going to be a noise buffer, in my opinion. So I just wanted to get your opinion as to what you thought. I know what the codes are with the city. I know what the codes are with the county. But I wanted to get an official opinion. So thank you for coming forward. So with that, I'm very pleased with the way this project has been reconformed, the way it's been set up, and if we could imply an 8-foot block instead of a 6-foot block, and if we could raise the 4-foot wall to a 5-foot ornamental wall with evergreen along the proposed route that they have on the plan there in Meacham, it's going to protect the residential neighborhood that surrounds this particular thing without having the lights there. And the way they've got it planned, I'm in support totally now of the project after what I've seen and what I've heard, and so I would be able to support this project tonight.
Thank you, Commissioner Sprague. And
Mr. Chairman, can I address something very quickly, just because this
Yes,
thought
go
just
ahead.
occurred to me? The only concern that I have based on that recommendation, and I have an alternative for you to consider, is that may require discretionary action, because I don't know if we can, without a notice, specify that it's a 5-foot block wall when the code says it's the 4-foot for the front yard setback, things along those lines. You may actually have to go through a formal notice hearing to change something from a 4-foot to a 5-foot or a 6-foot. So an alternative, if you're open to it, would be for me to add some language within the landscaping buffer that says within a year of the landscaping be in place, that staff will evaluate the effectiveness of the landscaping shielding the adjacent property owners. And then that way, after a year, if any additional measures are needed to help address that, an appropriate step could be taken that way, whether it would be a change in the fence but then something could be processed. But that would be an alternative to just saying right now that it needs to be a 5-foot wall.
Okay? I'd be happy with that.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Schmidt, and thank
So
you
I-
for the clarification there.
Listen to other commissioner comments.
Yes, of course. So moving on to Commissioner Skidmore.
So I'd like to thank Mr. Abed for a night and day proposal, in my opinion, from our last meeting. I think the detail that's provided in this proposal clarifies a lot of concerns I had regarding lighting, noise, alcohol distribution, and I really appreciate you bringing the community together to better describe your intent of the project. I'm indifferent on the movement forward for the block wall or for the ornamental fencing, but I plan on proposing a support for this project.
Thank you, Commissioner. And now moving on to Commissioner McGiffney.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just had a couple questions for clarification. It looks like Phase 2 will not have that will have the parking lot, and I guess I'm thinking that's going to happen later, or maybe I'm mistaken in how this is drawn out. Also, what timeline would Phase 2 be implemented in this project, or is there if there's a timeline? Thank you.
Commissioner McGiffney through the chair. So there is no specific timeline when Phase 1 would have to turn into Phase 2. Clearly that could be subject to a number of different things, including raising the money to go through that aspect of it. We have conditions in place that for Phase 1, we would have enough parking needed for that development, but you're right, the additional parking wouldn't happen until Phase 2 and Phase 3 was built. However, the applicant is proposing the landscaping along the back walls to be in place earlier rather than later, so that in preparation of any future phases.
So that would alleviate some of Commissioner Sprague's questions, I think, right on the parking.
Commissioner McGiffney, it would at first, but then again, when Phases 2 happened, there would still be some additional landscaping that would be included and some of that extra development that takes place closer to Jowetta Avenue and Meacham.
Okay, so then you could evaluate the need for the height of the block wall, right, at that point?
Commissioner McGiffney, not the block wall, but for the front yard or side yard wall. Yes, it would be once the, has commenced, a year within commencement of those activities and that construction of that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Now comment over to Commissioner Ashley.
Thank you, Chairman Josh. I also applaud Mr. Abed taking this back and addressing the public's concerns. I was in favor of this project initially. I think the support that you've garnered from the community is a testament to your willingness to work with the community and staff for a solution. So I am in support. I'm agnostic on the block wall and the landscaping to the front myself. So, but I do support the project.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Skidmore.
Can I ask the applicant if he has any concern over the 6-foot versus 8-foot wall? Is there a concern there, since that's something I'm indifferent on?
I'm actually okay with the 8-foot wall. So whatever keeps the neighbors happy. And just to address something really quick, we actually, when we designed this facility, we purposely positioned all the structures to the middle of the facility. So to give you an idea, the distance width of Jowetta is about 25 feet and Meacham's about 45 feet. The distance between the back neighbor and the edge of the soccer field is 80 feet. And there's a block wall, which we don't mind if it being 8 foot. And then also we're gonna have trees planted along the wall to create a privacy screen between us and the neighbor. So there's actually more buffer zone between us and the back neighbor than there is off of Jowetta and Meacham. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other commissioner comments? Well, thank you, commissioners, for all your comments. I'd like to also commend the applicant for providing what I feel is a quality project. The thing as a commission we like to see is taking consideration the concerns that the public brings and an applicant to think about those things and how it affects the community. And obviously this project did come back, and I commend staff for bringing this back to us, to allowing it to be looked at correctly and given the ability to be voted on as well as it was presented. So I think that the modifications made to address traffic, again, having a certified engineer doing a traffic evaluation to justify the fact that when this project does come into a second phase, a traffic study will be conducted at that time, and the amount of improvements that will be done to Joetta and Meacham to its ultimate is going to benefit the community, because with this project or any project that does come into the community, the improvements is something that the county requires for majority of development. So this improvements to the curb, gutter, sidewalk, and road addition is something that is been planned for, and is part of the master design of this intersection to accommodate larger traffic. And that's something that is going to be, as I mentioned earlier, will help traffic flow. So I'm excited to see that. And I'd also say that in addition to what Mr. Murphy commented on the fencing, I am did not prefer 4 or 5 feet, but I realize that you make a good point there, Commissioner. And I think that allowing the landscaping to infill and grow, as we do all other projects that come through our commission, it is our duty to try keeping ourselves equal throughout projects. And for us to require 5 foot, I think landscaping growth is something we could look at, and I'm in support of that. And in regards to the 8-foot wall, I have no objection. Obviously, the applicant does not is either. The only thing that I would ask or have them think about is, when you live in a community and your back wall, a fence is normally 6 foot, and that's a normal requirement that's asked of any development. I would just imagine thinking 8 foot might be a little large to kind of enclose someone that has their backyard. It kind of obstructs your view of the community. But either way, I'm not against the idea of it. It's just something that I think we should think about. And but if there's no other comments or concerns, I also think this is a good project to move forward on. And I think that some of the issues that were brought up by some of the fellow residents regarding traffic and noise, I think are addressed through the block wall, through the trees, which will also minimize noise, and also with the improvements, access points, the way this is designed out. So I thought that was very thoroughly thought out. With that being said, I would turn over to anyone to make a motion.
Mr. Chairman, if there are no other comments from commissioners, I'd be willing to make a motion.
Thank you.
So I would make a motion on item number 2 to approve it as read into the record by staff with all the revisions that staff has read into the record, and look forward to a second.
Second your motion.
Prior to a vote, I have Mr. Murphy. I think you want to clarify.
I do. I just need to make sure that I understand specifically some of the details. I know for sure that this recommendation, I believe, still includes staff's recommended changes to condition 5D, which would end by saying all subject to acquisition of required dedication. I propose to address the landscaping, condition 7K. At the end of 7K, we would include the language, within 1 year of installation of landscaping, staff shall review the effectiveness of the landscaping to reduce headlighting leaving the site. And then the last question I need some clarification on, the condition would be 7G. Is it your proposal to include an 8-foot block wall on only the southern boundary or on the southern and eastern boundary? The petition that we had is signed by a number of individuals on the southern boundary only. I do not see, based on this petition, any of those signatures being residents on the eastern boundary, but I do need clarification whether or not you're proposing an 8-foot on the southern only or the southern and eastern boundary.
Thank you, Mr. Murphy, for bringing that up. My motion would include southern and eastern, both.
So if that was the case, then the condition for 7G, we would simply change the language 6 foot high, and it would read 8 foot high would be
Correct.
the change.
That's correct.
Second that.
All ayes, motion carries.
Now, this item has a right to appeal, and for projects with the Planning Commission, actions as final actions are subject to appeal of the Board of Supervisors by intended persons, and no development proposed of any application may be authorized until after the final date of appeal. Mr. Murphy, do you mind elaborating on that item?
I will. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The appeal may be filed at the Kern County Planning and Natural Resources Department, located at 2700 M Street, Suite 100 in Bakersfield, with a filing fee of $540. We have all the forms at the Planning and Natural Resources Department. That filing must be made within 14 days of and including the date of this hearing. If no appeal is received, the action of your commission is final.
Thank you, Mr. Murphy. Moving on to item number 3, general plan amendment, number 1, map number 6. Can I have staff comment on this item?
The last project before you tonight is a request to amend the circulation element of the Kern County General Plan to eliminate the northwest midsection and the south half midsection line road reservations of Section 26, Township 25 South, Range 22 East. The project area is located on the east side of Corcoran Road, approximately 2.5 miles south of the intersection of West Garces Highway and Corcoran Road in Lost Hills. The applicant has submitted a summary vacation request in order to vacate the public access easement along the subject midsection lines. However, consideration of the vacation request are not authorized by your commission, but will be heard directly by the Board of Supervisors at a later date. The request will allow undeveloped land to be used for cattle grazing, and the land is intended to remain as open space and in this condition. Additionally, the applicant wishes to record the property as a conservation easement in order to conserve the site in perpetuity. Therefore, removal of the midsection lines at this time would be desirable. Staff has confirmed the request will not remove any existing access to neighboring properties. Therefore, it is staff's recommendation that your commission recommend to the Board of Supervisors to approve the request amendment to the circulation element of the Kern County General Plan to eliminate the northwest midsection and the south half midsection line road reservations of Section 26, Township 25 South, Range 22 East, and adopt the suggested findings as set forth in the draft resolution.
Thank you. Prior to motion, any members of the audience like to comment on this item? Please come and state your name and spell your last name for the record.
Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, my name is Kim Erickson, E-R-I-C-K-S-O-N. I work for Westerveld Ecological Services. It's been our pleasure working with Danielle on this application, and we have no comments on the staff report.
Thank you. Seeing no other members, I'll close the public presentation portion of this item number 3 and turn to my fellow commissioners. Commissioner McGiffney.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I had a question for staff. There's a letter in the package from the Temler Ranch. Carl Twizzleman asks about line road reservations giving legal access to the property. It seems like this moving these lines does not impede their access, so I was just wondering what that question might be all about.
Turn to staff to clarify.
Mr. McGiffney, no, we did evaluate Mr. Tizzleman's concerns. However, we are not deleting the blue line, which is the section line for this area. So they can take access from Corcoran Road still through the blue line. There is a portion of that road that's actually already dirt that you can see that they are traveling through. So his property will remain and have full access.
Thank you.
Any comments from our fellow commissioners? Seeing none, I would entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve item number 3 as read into the record with, by staff.
I'll second.
All ayes, motion carries.
Thank you. There is no right to appeal on this item, so we'll move on to item number 8, adjournment. Can I have a motion for adjournment?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Meeting's been adjourned.